Honolulu Little Leaguers and Petaluma National Little Leaguers are in the West Region semifinals. That'll be Thursday on ESPN, and they are just one step away from the Little League World Series. Let's take a look at the batting order for Southern California. The Cardiac Kids, they won 7 games in 8 days to win the state title after an opening round loss. They're hoping to bounce back from an opening round loss here after losing to Arizona 1-0. Xavier Navarro is their spark plug leading things off. And they have plenty of pop in the middle of the lineup, and they're going to be facing a right-hander in Asher Flansburgh. He's a 4-pitch guy, very smart on the mound, will mix his pitch as well. And number 98 gets the call here with the season on the line for these two teams. Nevada coming off a tough 7-6 loss to Hawaii last night. Quick turnaround for them. Here's the first offering, and it's a fastball in there for strike one. They have a lot of confidence in Flansburgh, a guy that they nicknamed Goose on the mound. He had 5 straight strikeouts in their state semifinal victory. Two and one now. Sunny skies, temperature in the low 90s right now. X takes a pitch outside, 3-1. Navarro, small in stature, but an impact player. Big fan of Fernando Tatis Jr. And he looks at ball 4. He's aboard to lead things off for Southern California. This is a team that only could muster 3 hits in their loss to Arizona, but they have plenty of pop at the plate. And this is one of those guys that can drive the ball. Gibson Turner, the shortstop. Gibby singled in game 1. He was their starting pitcher, ineligible to pitch today due to the pitch count regulations in Little League. Bounced up there, Gordon, the catcher, staying in front of the baseball. Hitters count 2-0, now 3-0. Again, a good job by Gordon. That ball bouncing well in front of the plate, and he got his body in front of it. .30 fastball. There's a strike on the corner. Our home plate umpire, Jason Akiona. Volunteer umps here at the ballpark, putting in the work in the heat in San Bernardino. That's driven to right field. Lenahan cannot get there. It's over his head and off the fence. Navarro rounding third, coming home. He'll score. RBI double for Turner, and the Torrance Little Leaguers have the lead. Showing his opposite field power there. That ball hit the warning track on a line. And Navarro plenty of speed to score the first run. Fastball, strike one. Vincent has power, 3 home runs during their state tournament. Got a piece of that one. Southern California's motto this season, just win, baby, a resilient bunch. They never hit the panic button. There's a ground ball hit to short. Kajioka on to first in time to retire Vincent. That does move Turner over to third base. Good middle infield. Kajioka and Farrell have done a nice job. They made some highlight reel plays last night against Hawaii, and here's Andrew Naruki, the catcher. Naruki kind of has an open stance. You could go back, a lot of guys, if you go way back, Dwight Evans, Brian Downing, where you open it up with that left leg facing towards third base. works for him. Andrew, a big fan of the Dodgers as Flansburgh looks in. Here's a 3-0 offering. That's a wild pitch, gets past the catcher, and the second run scores. Coming in is Turner, heading for second is Naruki in there safely. So the wild pitch, the walk. Turner makes it 2-0, and Naruki heads up on the base pass to get to second.
Southern California, the first baseman, number 24, Golia.
Good slide right there from Gibson Turner. Good start for Southern California. Here's Dominic Golia. Fastball for a strike. The Dominator. Also plenty of pop in his bat. Now, a lot of these kids mention travel dreams, places they want to go. Bora Bora, Tahiti, you know, those kind of places. He says the Arctic. He wants to go up in the cool climes and experience that. Plays 3 sports, football and basketball as well. Here's the 1-2 offering. Here's a bouncing ball to Farrell at second. Goes to first. There's out number 2. Naruki advances to third on the play. So 2 runs across on 1 hit, and that brings up Grant Hayes.
Third baseman, number 0, Grant Hayes.
Hot dogs, always a good choice. Baseball and hot dogs and apple pie, they all go together. Hayes has a 2-home run game this season. Plenty of power, and this is on that one. 1-1. Some of these kids have mentioned Rocky as their favorite movie. He says Creed 2 is his favorite of all time. 1-2 now the count. Flansburgh deals. Got him to chase off the plate. And the strikeout, first of the inning for Flansburgh. 2 runs, though, across on 1 hit. Southern California has the lead here early. Go to the bottom of the first.
Touchdown for number 98 after Flansburgh is 25.
The Torrance Little Leaguers have a 2-0 lead here at Houghton Stadium as we go to the bottom of the first inning. Nevada in action last night. They erased a 6-0 deficit to tie their game with Hawaii, but then bottom of the 6th, a wild pitch allowing the Honolulu Little Leaguers to score the winning run from third, Zach Bagoyo. And Hawaii moves to 2-0, a tough loss for this Summerlin South Little League team, and they'll try to bounce back with a quick turnaround today against a good Southern California bunch. As we look at the lineup for Nevada, top of the order was really productive against Honolulu. Amsden specifically, but Chase Griffith also with a couple hits. And Farrell and Noel are the power hitters, sitting in the 4 and 5 spots in the order.
In left field, number 21.
And they're going to be facing Isaac Mora, seeing his first appearance on the mound. Mora has played second base for this team. A football, basketball, and baseball guy. Called on in a big spot here. He does have a lead to work with, up 2-0, as he works to the first batter. Mora against Stone Amsden. First pitch ball outside. Stone was fantastic yesterday, manning center field and also pitching this season, but last night 3 for 3, couple runs scored. He had 3 singles and a walk, and really sets the tone for this lineup. Fouls that one off. He has the ability to spray the ball around. He went opposite field with it. He drove it up the middle. High baseball IQ, very athletic leadoff man. Trying to get Nevada off on the right foot here. 3-1 now. The winner of this game will face Utah tomorrow. There's a bouncing ball hit to second. Navarro has it, and that retires Amsden. Utah, the opponent tomorrow. Arizona is out of the West region. Little League International informing that at least one person positive COVID-19 test with the Arizona team. The team can no longer compete in the West region tournament, so Utah advancing. Because Arizona is not involved, Utah gets the forfeit win today, and they will play tomorrow. We'll have that game for you at 4 local time, 7 Eastern time. The winner of this one against the team from Washington Little League in Utah. Alec Kajioka, the shortstop, now with one down. Pitch to the guy they call Predator inside. He was dynamic defensively yesterday with some big-time plays at shortstop. Has all the tools, though. And a key spot, the number 2 spot in the order. Good eye there, and he's on. A 1-out walk.
Third, the left fielder. Number 10 is Griffith.
Now here's Griffith, their most complete player, a 5-tool guy. Big cut, swing and a miss. He had a single and an RBI double yesterday. Playing left field, pitched yesterday. He is a big fan of Giancarlo Stanton and the Yankees. He'll have to protect the plate now, 0-2. Over to first and back in there, Kajioka. Fly ball hit to left. Emerson, a long run. Shortstop goes out there, and it's off the glove of Turner. Throw to second. They get the force play. Kajioka retired as Griffith will reach. That was a long run for both Emerson, the left fielder, and Turner, the shortstop, and Turner almost came up with it. Left fielder playing back there, so it's really the shortstop's ball. Almost made a dynamic play, but 2 down now.
Back up, boys! AK, you didn't see it drop.
Now Aiden Farrell. The team dirtbag plays hard, loves the game of baseball. Ooh, good off-speed pitch right there from Isaac Mora. He gets some help from his defense. Now a chance to get out of the inning. Fastball high. Mora, a quick worker from the windup. Off-speed pitch, driven to center field, and it drops in front of Vinson. That's a base hit for Farrell. Boy, how big was that previous play, getting the force at second? And that hit could have scored a run. Instead, it's 2 runners out there with 2 down. That's Farrell's second hit. He had a double yesterday in this West region. And here's J.D. Noel. The 0-1 pitch to the guy they call Tank. Check swing, did he go? No, says the first base ump, Aaron Schreier, down the line. JD, their home run derby champion, loves to swing it. Looks at that one upstairs, 2-1. His dream to be a lawyer. Right now, really good baseball player. 3-1. Ball 4. Bases are loaded, couple walks given up by Mora. And now a golden opportunity for Nevada to get on the board.
The first baseman, number 6, Gavin Kim.
Gavin Kim, the first baseman. Pulls it foul. That was inside, and he went after it. Dyson Miyake leading things off against Asher Flansburgh. Both teams suffering tough 1-run losses in their first games. Southern California on Sunday falling to Arizona 1-0. Nevada losing last night to Hawaii 7-6. Miyake chases that one high and he strikes out. Back-to-back Ks for Flansburgh going back to the last inning. Out number 1.
A
little bit of movement on that one from the right-hander. Here's Elias Emerson. Fastball, showing he can crank up the velocity with that one. Elias gets a piece of that one. Emerson also plays basketball. Here's the 0-2 pitch to him. And he strikes out. Quick work from Flansburgh. 2 up, 2 down via the strikeout. Flansburgh has this ability. He showed it during their state championship run. Very smart pitcher, mixes his pitches well, and we saw that fastball, excellent velocity. Here's Isaac Mora. Here's the fastball for strike 1. Mora fouls that one off. Mora, a fan of bacon. You can't go wrong there. Waterboy's his movie. Big Dodgers fan, trying to keep the at-bat alive here. Here's the 0-2. Fouls it off. Flansburgh wasting little time Here he is from the windup. Tap foul. Oh, 2 fastball, bounced up there, he swings and misses. The catcher will throw down to first, and in the inning he strikes out the side. That's 4 straight strikeouts for Asher Flansburgh, keeping this a 2-0 game. Bottom of the second, up next.
For Southern California in the second, no runs, no hits, and no runners left on. Pitch count for number 98 after Flansburgh is 36.
The Summerlin South fans making the trip from Las Vegas, Nevada to San Bernardino. Strong Little League history in Vegas and some big names in Vegas. Bryce Harper, Chris Bryant, Joey Gallo, Laurel Hershiser, and Greg Maddox lived there. And Hershiser actually was talking some pitching philosophy with some of the kids on this Nevada team. 2-0 game, Southern California getting a couple runs in the first inning. And has stood up so far. It's the 7, 8, and 9 hitters against Isaac Mora, Asher Flansburgh to lead things off. Ball 1. Flansburgh trying to help his cause there, coming off an excellent inning pitching. Looks at a strike, 2-1. Remember, this Nevada team started slowly last night, down 6-0 to Hawaii, and they put 5 runs on the board in an inning, hoping they can string something together. 3-1 the count. They chant Goose from the seats. The pitch to Goose. Foul tip, strike 3 and 2. Ball 4. Good at bat for Flansburgh. A leadoff walk here in the second. It's walk number 3 given up by Mora.
Saturday for Nevada, the right fielder, number 34, Braden Lenahan.
Braden Lenahan, who came in a relief role as a pitcher last night and pitched well, batting for the first time today, fouls off that bunt attempt. Good eye there, 1-1.
Go, Don.
2 balls and a strike. Braden's dad, Jim Lenahan, coached the Summerlin South softball team to the Little League Softball World Series. They were West Region champions on this field. Lot to be proud of there in Summerlin. The ground ball, base hit, opposite field, single for Lenahan. Flansburgh's going to hold on at second. Excellent piece of hitting right here, going with the pitch. And that hole between first and second. And that brings up the number 9 hitter, Ethan Gordon, the catcher. Showing bunt, lays it down, nope, foul ball. Home plate up, Jason Akiono on top of that one. Trying to get those runners moved over to second and third. Hits him in the chest. See if they go back to the bunt here. Now we're going to have a conference on the mound. Two 2-0 lead for Southern California, bottom half of the second. Want to see some girls with game? Tune into the excitement of the Little League Softball World Series, August 11th to the 18th. Visit littleLeagueSoftball.org for great content, information about starting a softball league, and more. Mentioned the Summerlin South Little Leaguers are there in Greenville, North Carolina. Now that bunt attempt was ruled a foul ball. And they're going to go to video replay here. If the ball was bunted in fair territory and the batter was out of the box, he would be out, and that maybe is what the challenge is here. The call was a foul ball, that he was in the box. The ball appeared to hit him in the chest. That's what they're looking at here. Ethan Gordon trying to bunt the ball. The ruling on the field was a foul ball. Here it is. It's got to be outside the batter's box. Where does the ball hit him? Yeah, very close. Looks like 1 foot was in that batter's box there. Challenge from Southern California. That back foot was on its way to being out of the batter's box, but confirmation coming here. They're going to stick with the original call. A foul at the plate on that bunt attempt. 0-1 the count to Ethan Gordon. Let's see if he tries to lay one down here. He is going to square. Takes the pitch outside. The importance here, if you can get those runners to second and third in a 2-run game, a single could score a couple. Squares, lays down the bunt. It is a fair ball, throw to third, and they get the force play. The catcher, Naruki, to Hayes to cut down the lead runner, 1 down. It's a heads-up play by Andrew Naruki. Did not hesitate off the bounce. A strike to Hayes to get out number 1. Now Stone Amsden. Amsden pulled the ball, grounding out to the second baseman in the first inning. Lines it, fair down the left field line. Flansburgh will score. Lenahan rounding third, he scores. Into third safely is Amsden, and we're tied at 2. A laser down the line. That's 4 hits in 2 games for Amsden. And they square this one up. And now Javier Chavez will have a chat with Isaac Mora. You see Amsden in this regional so far. He's been dynamic in the leadoff spot. Pitch count is at 40 right now for Isaac Mora. And he'd have to observe 2 days rest due to the pitch count rules in Little League Baseball. More balls and strikes so far, but his team is tied in this one in the 2nd inning. Alec Kajioka. Infield is in with a runner at 3rd and 1 down. Ground ball, base hit right field. They've got the lead. Kajioka drives in Amsden. It's 3-2. And the story in this inning has been the opposite field hitting. Lenahan, Amsden, and Kajioka all going with pitches. Here's Chase Griffith. That bounces away from the rookie, the catcher. Makes a throw late, not in time. Kajioka at second base. Chaser a chance to drive one in. One and one. One of 2 chases. Chase Hutton is the younger of the chases. Chase Griffith and Chase Hutton on this roster. Drives it to right center. That's well hit. And it's off the fence. Kajioka scores. Griffith on his horse on the way to 3rd. He's in there with a triple. 4-2. A big inning for Nevada. Griffith with a couple hits last night and a triple right here to right center field. And that's going to bring on a pitching a 3rd. The Dominator getting the call with a runner at 3rd and 1 away. And they make some changes defensively around him. Hayes now at first base. Mora goes to second base. Navarro is at 3rd. Aiden Farrell, the cleanup man, singled his last time up. This Nevada team put up a big inning against Hawaii last night. They've done the same here today in a quick turnaround against Southern California. Two and one. Farrell putting up his left hand, telling Griffith to stay put over there at third base. Swing there, and that one away from the hitter. Good pitch from Golia. Full count. Stretch and the pitch, got him, curveball, strikes out Farrell. Good start for Golia. in a relief role. That's the second out. Bottom drops out right there. Farrell chasing it. Now J.D. Noel. Noel walked his first time up. He had a big 2-run double last night. RBI opportunity here. 1 ball, 1 strike. J.D., a competitor, hates to lose. Tough loss last night, trying to bounce back in this one. Looks at a strike, 1-2. Fastball fouled off. JD has played some first base as well as third base. He's at the hot corner today. Looks at the 1-2 pitch upstairs. Good job by Naruki, the catcher. Loving that one. Swing and a miss. Took something off the pitch. And what an effort from Golia. In relief, couple strikeouts, no further damage done, but a 4-run second for Nevada. They now lead Southern California 4-2.
Nevada at the bottom of the second. 4 runs, 3 hits, 1 runner left on base. Pitch down for number 24, Dominic Golia, is 12.
Goose is on his game. Asher Flansburgh, number 98, feeling it. Strikes out Hayes, then Miyake, Emerson, and then Mora. 4 straight Ks. And it's a 4-2 game. And now Asher has a lead to work with as we move to the top half of the 3rd inning. Xavier Navarro to lead things off for Southern California. Strike 1. Navarro walked and scored to open up this game. Hits a slow roller. Second baseman Farrell, nobody covering. And that's an infield single for Navarro. Ball not hit hard. Pitcher didn't get to the bag quick enough, and the first baseman departed the bag, and there's nothing Farrell could do there. And here's Turner, and that gets away from the catcher, and Navarro moves up to second base. So the Torrance Little Leaguers trying to bounce back here. Good start with their leadoff man aboard. Fastball to Turner is a strike on the inside part of the plate. Turner an opposite field double his first time up. He leads this team by example. Excellent pitcher and hitter. Playing shortstop today. Looks at a strike, 2-2. Gibby a fan of Justin Turner. Pulls it foul.
You're all over him, Gibby. You're all over him. Let's go, Gibby. Let's go, 1-9.
Fastball fouled straight back. He was on that pitch. Gibson plays football, basketball, as well as baseball. Count now 2-2. Here's the delivery. It's a liner. Glove by the shortstop for the out. Kajioka climbing the ladder to get it, one down. He's been a great glove over there at shortstop in the 2 games they've played here. Skylar Vincent, swing and a miss. A little elevation there. The outstretched glove, good play.
Let's go, Sky!
1-1 to Vincent. Fastball misses. Skylar is a busy young man. Hockey, soccer, basketball, flag football, and baseball. And there's a base hit into left field. And moving on to third is Navarro. Runners on the corners now with 1 down. It's the third hit for the Torrance Little Leaguers, and here's Andrew Naruki. Short of the plate, Gordon doing a good job as the catcher. It's 50 pitches now for Flansburgh. Low with that one.
Go, Samurai.
3-0.
Can't be smart. He doesn't want to push you. Let's go,
Strike on the corner, 3-1. Naruki wanted ball 4 right there. He walked his first time up.
Let's go, Andrew.
Fastball up the middle, shortstop Kajioka steps on the bag, throws to first, double play. They turn 2 and keep Southern California off the board. Alec Kajioka has been brilliant at shortstop. Turns 2 there, still a 4-2 game. Nevada has out-hit Southern California 6-3 in this one.
Yeah.
1-2 is fouled back. Kim's brother Tyler plays baseball at MIT. Great student athlete. Gavin also a basketball player. Golia's 2-2 offering, fouled off. Both of these teams have been resilient. Southern California bouncing back after a loss in the state championship to win it. There's a swing and a miss, and Kim strikes out. That's 3 straight Ks for Golia, but going back to the last inning.
Let's go, Torrance! Let's go! Let's go, Torrance! Let's go!
Good movement on that one as it went high in the zone and dropped down on the hitter.
Let's go! Let's go, Torrance! Let's go!
And now we're going to have a pinch hitter. Chase Hutton's going to get an opportunity, hitting in the 7th spot in the order. Again, mandatory play. You have 13 or more players, you must bat once. 12 or fewer, you must bat once and play a minimum of 6 straight defensive outs. Hutton, who was called on as a catcher yesterday, coming in as a pinch hitter in this one, his first appearance. Their youngest player, as versatile as anybody here in San Bernardino. He's played every position this season. He's also been to 17 major league parks. Pretty good for a 12-year-old. His favorite, PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Here's a strike. Chase that one and strikes out. 4 straight Ks for Golia. 2 down in this inning. He's been lights out, and then there again is that pitch. Dropping away from the hitter. Got him to chase that one. Donnie Napolitano now will come in a pinch hitting role.
You're doing great, dog. Defense, boys.
Iceman, nothing phases this kid. Good rip there, foul ball. Iceman came in as a pinch hitter yesterday. Trying to spark this club with 2 outs in the 3rd inning.
Go, dogs.
Let's go 2-4.
Fouls that off 0-2.
Let's go, dog. One more. Let's go, dog.
That's outside. Golia trying to strike out the side here. He's been lights out since coming in relief of Isaac Mora, who went an inning and a 3rd. 2-2. The Dominator has his sign. Here's the 2-2. Full count now. Dom, a big fan of Shohei Ohtani. That dual threat. Here's the 3-2. Got him to chase one in the dirt. Throw down to first. No, not in time, says the first base umpire, Aaron Schreier. Napolitano reaching. The strikeout is the 5th of the game for Golia. Here's a look at the throw to first. They're going to take a look at this one. It was strikeout number 5, drop third strike. And Naruki throwing it down to Hayes at first base. Close play to see if Napolitano reached, and they're challenging that call of safe at first base. Here it is. That's as close as you can get it right there. Tie, they say, goes to the runner. And again, the call on the field is safe. Do they have enough video evidence to overrule that call? That's the challenge by Nevada. Or actually the Southern California challenge on the safe call at first base. And here we go. They're going to stick with it. So the strikeout is the 5th, but Napolitano reaches. Now Ethan Gordon, the number 9 hitter. Swing and a miss. Napolitano ends up at second base. The ball scoots away from the catcher, Naruki. So with the inning continuing on now, here's a chance for Nevada to push a run across. Ground ball to second. Navarro, and that'll end the inning. 3 strikeouts, 5 in the game for Golia. 4-2 lead for Nevada, 4th inning coming up. Gavin Kim is the new pitcher for the Summerlin South Little Leaguers. He comes in for Flansburgh, who goes 3 innings. Here's how we got here. The pitching from Flansburgh, fantastic. Struck out 4 in a row at one juncture. Good mix of pitches from number 98. They were down 2-0, but then they rallied in the second inning. Stone Amsden, the leadoff hitter, with a 2-run triple to square things as he drove it into the corner. His 4th hit of West Region play. That evened it up. Then next up, Alec Kajioka with an opposite field RBI single to give him the lead. That made it 3-2. Then Chase Griffith opposite field, driving in another run. A 4-run second inning. And now a 4-2 lead for the Summerlin South Little Leaguers. Elimination game, season on the line for these two, and Gavin Kim, the second hurler for Nevada, facing Dom Golia.
Let's go, Dom. Right here, kid.
Kim, big frame at 5'10", 165, and there's a ball that gets past the third baseman and into left field. Golia's on, hard hit ball. And they'll give him a single as that went past Griffith over there at third base.
Let's go, 13.
Now batting for Southern California, the first baseman, number 13.
Confidence, kid.
Thank you,
You got it.
Harrison.
Be ready, kid.
Now,
Great step.
Kaishu Harrison getting a pinch hitting opportunity.
Attaboy, Kaishu. Way to get a piece of it, kid. Straighten it out, kid. You got it.
Kaishu, a very patient hitter. He's selective and can drive pitchers crazy. Had a 13-pitch at-bat this season. Good eye there.
No highways, kid. 1 and 2, you gotta protect. Let's go. You gotta protect. Let's go, Kaishu. Battle, kid. Right here, right now.
Swing and a miss. Fooled there on that pitch from Kim. One down.
Let's go, Johnny. Johnny.
Now batting for Southern California, the left field.
Took something off that one.
Christian Chavez.
Now Christian Chavez, a pinch hitting opportunity. Chavez hitting in the 7th spot in the order. Christian is a four-sport guy: football, soccer, basketball, and baseball.
Let's go, Johnny.
Big fan of the Dodgers.
We need you, kid.
He represents the tying run here. Kim is a quick worker. He's got the ball, he's ready to go. Here's the 2-1. It's outside, skips away from the catcher, Gordon. And down to second base safely is Golia.
Let's go, Torrance. Johnny. Johnny. Johnny.
3-1, misses. Ball 4. Chavez, a good at-bat as a pinch hitter. He's on. And now a meeting on the mound.
Let's go, Brandon. No one better.
Todd Hutton, who is the manager and also does the job as a third base coach. The guy that visits the mound and try to calm things down. His dad was his Little League coach, and now he's giving back to these kids. State champions from the Las Vegas area. And here's another pinch hitter. Brandon Perez will come in, left-handed batter. Perez's dream to work in professional sports. He's a big fan of Mike Trout. Wears that number 27. Big cut there.
Good miss. You got it, Brandon. Confidence, kid.
Chavez at first, Golia at second.
2-1, kid.
Golia representing the tying run here in the 4th inning. Ground ball hit to second. Farrell flips, and it's high and away, throws it into left field. Golia scores, throw to third, not in time. Chavez in there safely, runners on the corners, and it's a 4-3 game. This had a double play written all over it, but the high throw and an error on the second baseman. And now a 1-run game. Isaac Mora struck out his first time up. Tying run represented by Chavez at third base. They're in at the corners as you look at the infield. Fastball from Kim is fouled straight back to the screen. Oh, 2 now. Had a good rip at that one. A little bit frustrated, hoping he can square the next one up. That's low. Gordon staying with the baseball. Runner still at first and third. Strike 3 called on the inside corner. Big pitch from Kim. His second K, 2 down. Good job framing it right there by the catcher Gordon, bringing it back to that outside corner. And Kim and out away from getting out of this jam now.
Let's go. 1-9, that's correct.
Xavier Navarro now top of the order.
Let's go,
X has walked and singled so far. Strike 1. They've got a runner between first and second. They're not going to throw down there. They're just going to let him take the bag. Perez attempting a throw. No throw made, and he's now at second base. That takes the force play away. Ground ball. Second baseman Farrell. Got him. Only one runner cross for Southern California. 2 runners stranded. And the Summerlin South Little Leaguers maintain their advantage. Aiden Farrell flashing the leather with a big play. With that move, goalie is now playing third base. Stone Amsden to lead it off. We showed you that 2-run triple back in the second inning. He's been lights out as a hitter in this regional. Also grounded out today, but 3 hits yesterday. He has scored 3 runs in San Bernardino and facing Navarro for the first time. Navarro, big fan of the Giants. Big cut there. Amsden swinging for the fences with that cut.
Let's go, Axe, one more.
Got him to chase off the plate, and he strikes out Amsden. That's a big first out, getting the leadoff man.
Great pitch, kid.
Now batting for Nevada, the shortstop, number 27, Alex.
And he hit the catcher's glove right where he wanted it. He was framed out there. Here's Alec Kajioka. Ground ball hit to short. Turner has it on the run. In time, 2 up and 2 down. Navarro setting down the top 2 hitters in the Nevada order. Now it's Chase Griffith.
Let's go, X! Let's go! Oh, yeah!
Off-speed pitch, strike called. Griffith went opposite field to drive in a run. His last time up. Falls behind 0-2.
That was dirty, kid!
Just missed with that 0-2 pitch. Navarro, a quick worker, efficient and effective so far against the top of the order. 1-2, and he gets him. 3 up, 3 down. Couple strikeouts for Navarro in relief. Very effective. Still a 1-run game. Kim were the first 2 to go, and now it's Griffith going up against Gibson Turner, the number 2 hitter in the lineup for Southern California. Excellent defense has helped out Nevada in this one, specifically the middle infield. As that one sails off of from Griffith, and it's now 3-0. Southern California with 2 in the first, 1 in the fourth. Nevada scoring all of their 4 runs in the second inning. There's a strike, 3-1. Gibby doubled, driving in a run in the first inning. He's 1 for 2. And he looks at ball 4, leadoff walk given up. So now the tying run at first base here in the 5th inning. 6 innings regulation, Little League rules. Skylar Vincent. Single last time up, he pulled it to left field. Sky playing center field in this one, and now we have a meeting of the minds on the mound. Skylar has plenty of pop in his bat. He had 3 home runs during their state championship run. Representing the go-ahead run here, top half of the 5th inning. Fastball's inside, had to bail out of there after that one. Well-played game between these two. Here's a 2-0 offering. Bouncing ball, first baseman Kim can't make a play. Originally thought about going to first, looked down at second, didn't make the throw, and by the time he looked back to first base, Vincent was on. That'll go as an infield hit for Vincent. Kim unsure what he wanted to do there. Now you've got the tying run at second and the go-ahead run represented by Vincent at first base. And Todd Hutton making sure everything is squared away with his infield. Talking about the situation here, you've got a force play available at the bases. The cleanup hitter coming up, Andrew Nuruki. Griffith deals the first one. Fastball, strike 1. On the corner with the good-looking pitch. 0-2 now. Naruki hit it hard, hit into a double play his last time up there to the shortstop. Fouls that one off to stay alive. Season on the line for these two, both state champions. Southern California lost their first game to Arizona 1-0 on Sunday. Nevada lost last night to Hawaii in a heartbreaker 7-6. Fouled off, first base side. And the winner of this one, very capable of representing at the Little League World Series. Only one of these two teams will be able to keep alive their hopes of getting there. Chopper, Griffith flips to second. They get the force play. An aggressive play there. The easy play would have been to go to first and get the out. But they get the force. Pitcher to the shortstop, and Naruki reaching on the fielder's choice. He did not waste any time. And the second base umpire, Jason Field, with the call over there. No challenges left. So that will go down as an out. There's a strike, throw down to second. They throw the pitcher instead. Looked like the catcher, Gordon, wanted to throw it down to the bag, but instead opts not to. And Naruki now at second base. Now a single could put him in front. Pitch to Golia is a strike on the corner. Fastball, strike three called. 2 down. Good location right there from number 10. Chance to work out of this second and third jam. He faces Grant Hayes, who struck out his first time up. Boy, this game could hinge on this at-bat right here with a couple runners in scoring position. Hayes, a power hitter. Big cut right there, 1-1. He had a couple home runs in a game this year. Swinging for the fences with that one. Fastball right back through the middle, base hit. Turner scores, throw to the plate. Out at the plate is Naruki. Amston, the center fielder, with a big-time play. The run scores to make it 4-4, but the go-ahead run does not score. And we are all even here at Al Houghton Stadium. Hayes picking up the RBI, but the out from center field to home plate. Naruki tagged out. We're tied up.
For Southern California at the top of the fifth, 1 run on 2 base hits and 1 runner left on.
Egg LLWS. Great support from the fans here as you look at the Petaluma National Little Leaguers from Northern California. They are in the West Region semifinals. one win away from the Little League World Series, along with Hawaii. The Honolulu Little Leaguers are 2-0, and they're going to play at noon on Thursday against Hawaii on ESPN. Aiden Farrell is going to lead things off for Nevada. They haven't scored since the second inning. The cleanup man will face Xavier Navarro. Dirtbag has a single and a strikeout so far, 1 for 2.
Also for Southern California, re-entering the game, playing for the number 13, Kaishu Harrison. Re-entering the right field.
Kaishu Harrison now playing first base. They make a defensive move. Farrell plays hard, loves the game of baseball. He's one of those glue guys that you love to have on your squad. Playing second base, good defender, good cleanup hitter. Good eye there. Check swing, did he go? He did, a strikeout for Navarro. That's his third, first out in the inning. Couldn't hold back on that swing as Jason Akiona calls it strike 3. J.D. Noel now. He's walked and struck out. Tank has the ability to take it out of here. His home run derby championship numbers, the team winner, pretty impressive. 3 minutes and 30 seconds of time. He hit 23 home runs. Bragging rights in terms of hitting home runs in that setting, and nothing would be bigger than taking one out of the yard right here. Good rip at that one. Still 1-2. Just missed off the edge. 2-2. Navarro, small in stature, but he can really throw the ball with velocity. Here's the 2-2 offering. That misses, full count. Ball 4. Noel patient, and he earns the walk. First given up by Navarro. So the go-ahead run at first base, and it brings up Gavin Kim. And we could see a special pinch runner right here for Noel at first base. And that's what Todd Hutton's going to do. It's going to be Braden Lenahan now pinch running at first base. Lenahan gives him some speed out there, an important runner in this tie game. A special pinch runner representing the go-ahead run. First pitch to Kim, off the plate, ball 1. And you can do it twice a game, not more than one time per inning. Can't be in the batting order. And this is a key spot. Again, we talked about subs coming in as pinch hitters and pinch runners and how they can impact the game. Lenahan could be that guy that gives him the lead here. Very high baseball IQ.
Shut it down, buddy. Shut it down.
Kim hits it hard, past the glove of the shortstop, Turner and into left field. And now the go-ahead run at second base after the Kim single. Turner almost had it. That was a hard hit baseball. Nevada has now out-hit Southern California 7-6. And here's Goose, Asher Flansburgh. Big cut, falls in the hole now, 0-2. Flansburgh, a big golfer as well as a baseball player. Chance to give his team a lead here in the bottom half of the fifth. There's strike three in the corner. Navarro with a big K right there, 2 down, his fourth of the game. Paints the black with that one. Now Donnie Napolitano with 2 out and 2 on. When you got a guy by the nickname of Ice, this is a spot you want to be in. Key moment in the game. That ball gets away from the catcher. Runner's going to move up to second and third. Key moment right there. You've got Lenahan now representing the go-ahead run at third base. Two and one now to Napolitano. Base hit could plate a couple. Pass ball, a wild pitch could give him the lead. Here's the 2-1. Good stop by Naruki. The spotlight really on number 35. He did a great job using his body as a shield right there.
Let's go, 2-6.
Got the corner with that one. Count runs full now. Donnie Napolitano. Payoff pitch. Ball 4, bases are loaded. It's been a well-played game between these two, the Torrance Little Leaguers and the Summerlin South Little Leaguers from Torrance, California and Las Vegas, Nevada. And Ethan Gordon now with the bases full and 2 down. He takes strike 1. Fouls it off.
Let's go, 2-6. Go on, buddy.
Gordon, the Nevada catcher. Chance to give him the lead. Here's the 0-2. Ball outside. Navarro's had to work hard in this inning after setting him down in order in the 4th. He has 4 strikeouts.
Put it behind us, 6-6.
Got a piece of that one, a foul tip to stay alive. Season on the line for these two. Elimination game, West Region play. Winner will face Utah tomorrow. Fastball, ground ball foul. Gordon just fighting it off. Battling up there. His dad, Kevin, a fighter pilot. He knows about working hard. Here's the 1-2. Line foul. Pitch number 7 of the AB. Outside, good stop by Naruki. He may have saved a run right there. Maybe the game with that as we move to the 6th inning. Excellent defense being played here. And Summerlin has out-hit Torrance 7-6. Nevada, a big 4-run second inning. And Chase Griffith will continue on for this Nevada team, hoping to keep this one even and get it to the bottom of the half. 6 innings regulation, Little League rules. Leading things off, Dyson Miyake, hitting in the 7th spot in the order for the Torrance Little Leaguers. There's a strike from Griffith. Chase nickname. The pitcher is Stitch. 17 stitches in a non-throwing arm. Battle back from that. And check swing, strike 3 called. Strikes out Miyake, out number 1. Little high heat right there. Now Brandon Perez with his second at-bat. Reached on an error his first time up. Fastball's in there from Griffith. Got a lot of confidence in Chase. Plays his best in the big games as he delivers a strike right there, moves ahead in the count. Fastball fouled off. Chase Griffith, a 5-tool player. He and Stone Amsden, fantastic in their state championship game, combining for 13 strikeouts as they beat a team from Reno to win the Nevada state title. Perez stays alive with that swing. Strike 3 call. Got him looking. 2 Ks here in the 6th inning for Griffith, his 3rd. Now it's the number 9 in the hitter in the lineup, Isaac Mora, who has struck out a couple times in this one. Looking ahead to the bottom half of the 6th inning, it sets up pretty well if you go from a number standpoint. It's the top of the order for Nevada. And they have been productive throughout West Region play. Liner foul. That had extra bases written all over that. Off the bat of Mora.
Let's go, Isaac.
1-1, drops in there on the corner, 1-2. Griffith a chance to strike out the side here. Get the bats to the plate in the bottom half of the 6th. Fastball, got him. He does strike out the side. 3 in a row, nothing across in the top half of the frame. Amsden, Kajioka, and Griffith come up next for Nevada, a chance to win it. One. Amsden hit it on a line. Navarro's pitch, driven, but right at the left fielder, Perez. Now the number 2 hitter in the order, Alex Kajioka. He's had a big day with a glove, has turned a double play. Also has a run-scoring single back in that 4-run 2nd inning. Fouls that one off, didn't get a full swing on that cut. Nothing across against Navarro in relief of Mora and Golia. He has 4 strikeouts. Strike 3, make it 5.
Now batting for Nevada, the pitcher, number 10, Chase Griffith.
Now Chase Griffith. He had a flair for the dramatic in the state championship game with a go-ahead 3-run homer. Got a chance to win it with a home run right here in this tie game, bottom half of the 6th inning. Again, 6 innings, regulation, Little League rules. Stays away from that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Griffith had a single and a double yesterday. Triple today. Big cut, swinging for the fences there. 1-2. Two and two. Fastball fouled off. Griffith right on that one. Started the game as the left fielder, now the pitcher. It's pitcher against pitcher here. 2-2. Full count. Ball 4. Griffith doing a good job battling. He's on, representing the winning run at first base. It's the 3rd walk given up by Navarro. Now Aiden Farrell. He's a gamer. Singled in the first, 1 for 3 in this one. Farrell's mom played Division I softball. Had a rip at that one, can't connect, 0-2. Season on the line for these two, elimination game, West Region play. Got a piece of it, stays alive. This Nevada team spends a lot of time focusing on situational hitting, fundamentals. They have embraced the two-strike approach throughout the course of this year. Big spot here. The 0-2, got him. Navarro with a strikeout, his 6th. And we're gonna go extra innings here at the ballpark in San Bernardino. Southern California and Nevada tied at 4.
Four Nevada in the 6th inning. No run, no hit, 1 run left on. Pickup number 66, Xavier Navarro, is 57.
Extra innings, Little League West Region play. Here we go into the 7th inning. We'll play it as normal. If it does go to the 8th inning, a runner is put on second base from the previous inning by the offensive team, and it would continue each half inning thereafter until we have a winner. It's been a well-played game between these two, the Torrance Little Leaguers and Summerlin South Little Leaguers from Las Vegas. All even. Griffith continues on, and he's facing Xavier Navarro, top of the order for Southern California, and he knocks him back there with that pitch inside. Good job by number 66 to get out of the way of that offering. Had to contort his body right there. Very athletic move. 3-0 now to Navarro. He's walked, singled, and grounded out thus far. Fastball in there, right at the knees, 3-1.
Gotta be yours. Make him do it again.
Griffith with pitch number 37 in relief. That drops in there for a strike. It took a U-turn back towards the plate and caught the corner. Full count. Fastball, bouncing ball, Farrell, 1 down. Farrell and Kajioka, that middle infield has been fantastic for the Summerlin South Little Leaguers. And that'll bring up Gibson Turner. Extra innings here at Al Houghton Stadium with the season on the line for these two. Turner ducking down after that offering. Ball 1. Gibby had a really good at-bat in the first inning with an opposite field double driving in a run. 1-1. Gibson mentioning Fenway Park as one of the most favorite places he has visited. Looks at a strike there, 1-2. Three-sport guy, football, basketball, and baseball. One of their key players here trying to get on board. Oh, and that hit him. He is on. The pitch got away from Griffith. And now the go-ahead run at first base. And now a meeting on the mound. Todd Hutton with a chat with his pitcher Chase Griffith. 41 pitches in relief. They started with Flansburgh, then Kim, and now Griffith, their third pitcher. He set him down in order, striking out the side in the 6th inning. And just hoping that something that doesn't get to him, just a one pitch that got away. Skylar Vincent is 2 for 3 singles his last 2 times up there. Drives it to right. Caught. Lenahan was there. Played it well, 2 down. That's a good at-bat for Vincent. He got what he wanted and drove the baseball. Sometimes you just hit it at somebody. And here's Andrew Naruki. Boy, so important if you're Nevada right now to keep that runner, Turner, at first base with 2 down. Stretch and the pitch. And it gets past the catcher, and they've got the runner in scoring position. Turner down at second with 2 away. The pass ball allowing Turner to take the base. Now Naruki can bring him home. 3-0 now. Well, you give your cleanup hitter the green light. It's ball 4 and a couple runners on. The key guy, though, is Gibson Turner at second base. 2 out, 2 on. And that brings up the Dominator, Dom Golia. One for 3 with a single back in the 4th inning. Here's a strike at the knees. Dom, a power hitter, 3 home runs during the All-Star season. Pulls it foul. Looking ahead to the bottom half of the 7th inning, scheduled up. It's the 5, 6, and 7 hitters for Nevada. Extra innings here. The 7th inning, normal rules. If we go to the 8th, it'll change. A runner will be put on second from the previous inning to start that frame. But some work to do for both teams here in the 7th. 2-strike pitch. Outside. The 1-2. Misses inside with that one. Elimination game here. The winner will face Utah tomorrow in San Bernardino. 2-2. And that's a wild pitch. Runner's going to move up. Turner to third. Naruki to second with 2 away. And the spotlight is really on the battery now, the pitcher and catcher. With that runner at third base, you see the strikes and balls so far for Chase. Struck out the side in the last inning. In a jam here in the 7th. Full count to Golia. You've got first base open. Fastball, and he blows it by him. Cranks it up as it stands. Your max pitch count per day is 85, Little League rules. Good eye there from Noel. It's 3-1. Swings at that one on the inside part of the plate, went after it. Full count now. Now time called as Jason Acciona, the home plate ump, steps out momentarily. The 3-2. Popped up. Shortstop calling for it. Third baseman comes over. And Golia makes the play. In front of Turner, 1 away. It looked like they're on the same page here, but the first out recorded. Now Gavin Kim. He pulled the ball, singling to left last time up, pulls it again in the hole and into left field. Carbon copy of what he did last time up. And the winning run now represented at first base. Hard hit ball. Turner gave his best effort to get there. And this will be Chase Hutton now batting with 1 out and 1 on.
At first base, special pitch runner for Kim, number 13, Donnie Napolitano.
And Donnie Napolitano is going to be the special pinch runner used here. He's at first base.
Now batting for Nevada.
Running for Kim.
Number 11, Chase Hutton.
Hutton fouls off the first one. Hutton struck out last time up there. He is the youngest player, just turned 12 years old. The 0-1 offering off speed, and that's on the corner for a strike. 0-2. Infield playing back at double play depth. And he got him, took something off that one. And a strikeout for Navarro. That's his 7th of the game, 2 down. What an effort from X in relief here. Pulling the cord on that one. Now it's Lenahan up the middle, shortstop with a throw to second, not in time. Turner to Mora, and everybody's safe. And the inning continues on. Napolitano getting to the bag. Close play. Mora couldn't squeeze the ball. And a couple runners out there now with 2 down. Winning run at second base. And here's Ethan Gordon, the catcher. Fouls off the first one. Right back through the middle and into center field. Napolitano rounding third. Throw to the plate. Out at home plate. Gordon the single. Vincent with a strike. Naruki applies a tag. We head to the 8th. Plays, throws from center field, cutting down runners at the plate. There's Golia. Representing the go-ahead run, top of the 8th inning. And Grant Hayes will lead off this 8th. Four runs on 9 hits for Nevada, 4 runs, 6 hits for Southern California. Nevada has not scored since the 2nd inning. And Southern California's last run came back in the 5th. The winner will get Utah tomorrow in an elimination game. Both these teams have had some dramatics. Southern California losing to Arizona 1-0. Nevada losing last night to Hawaii 7-6. And locked up in a good one today. Golia starts the inning at second base. Here we go, into the 8th. Grant Hayes at the plate. First pitch fouled off. Hayes is a power swinger. 5'8", 175. Had an RBI single last time up there. Looks at that one outside 1-1. See 53 on the pitch count now for Griffith. 54 make it now. And that one gets away. There's a wild pitch. Goalie is down to third and in there safely. So now the go-ahead run at third, and we talked about the importance of getting that runner to third with so much emphasis on the catcher in this West region. A lot of ways you can score here, and the infield is going to move in towards that infield grass. Good backhand stop there. Good job by the catcher, Gordon. Three-1 to Hayes. Driven to right. Well hit. Out of here. for this Nevada team. Nevada had a 4-0 lead at one point. Southern California battling all the way back. Nevada has out-hit the Torrance Little Leaguers 9-7 in this one. One and two now. Miyake, his highlight this season, hitting his first home run as a Little Leaguer. Two and two now. Looking ahead for Nevada, bottom half of the 8th inning. They'll have their chance with the top of their lineup scheduled up. And they'll have a runner put at second base to start the inning. Little League rules when you start the 8th. So even though you're down 2 runs here, you can't hang your heads if you're Nevada because you start with a runner at second. There's a bouncer up the middle. Griffith had a hard time gathering the ball and throws it away. Didn't look like he got a clean grip there, and an error on the shortstop. Had to go low to get it, and then trying to, in one motion, get the ball out of the glove. Some frustration there from Griffith, who's been such a key piece for this Nevada team this year. Elias Emerson now with a runner aboard, nobody out. Looking for some insurance here in the top of the 8th. Good job by the catcher, Gordon, staying in front of the ball. Elias' uncle, Ken Harvey, played 4 seasons Major League Baseball with the Kansas City Royals. Had a good rip at that one, 1 and 2.
Nobody better right now. Nobody better.
Kajioka with the offering. Off the plate with that one. Full count. If this bottom part of the order can get aboard here, they've got a chance for a big inning. Emerson, the number 8 hitter. And there's a strike on the corner. Kajioka with a good one. 1 down. That'll bring up number 9 in the number 9 spot in the order, Isaac Mora. He has struck out 3 times so far. Big story in this inning, a 2-run homer off the bat of Grant Hayes to give Southern California the lead. Extra innings here. Elimination game. The winner faces the Washington Little Leaguers from Washington, Utah tomorrow. Game tomorrow in the West region at 4 local time, 7 Eastern. Utah has already played a game. They lost to Hawaii in run rule fashion. And now the Southern California manager, Javier Chavez, Looks like they're going to make a move here. And it appears Dyson Miyake is coming in as... Now Miyake's going to come off. They're going to bring in a special pinch runner to run for him. And that's going to be Emerson at first base. Can do it twice a game, not more than once per inning. And it's going to be Emerson, giving them a little more speed out there in the base pass here with one out, already up by a couple runs. Now, another way, some strategy here. I was thinking strategy here. If you're able to lay a bunt down and get a runner into that second base, that would give him a 3-run lead. The special pinch runner already in the current lineup, so he's being told the rules here. Emerson and Miyake have switched batting in the bottom part of that order. And they're getting things squared away here in the 8th. But with 1 out, 1 on, Mora has struck out 3 times. Would it be a smart move here to bunt that runner to second? Because if you can get a 7 lead heading to the bottom inning instead of 6-4, knowing that a runner's going to be placed at second base to start off the bottom of the 8th, a 3-run lead would be a lot bigger than a 2-run lead. I mean, you're essentially bringing the tying run to the plate in a 6-4 game to open up the bottom of the 8th inning. And you've got the top of the order awaiting behind Mora. See what they have to do here. Southern California has scored in 4 different innings, a couple 2-run innings, 2 in the first and 2 here in the 8th. Grant Hayes was the guy that put the charge into the 2-run shot, opposite field over the right field fence. Driving in Golia, who started off the inning at second base. And number 0 delivering. Here's Mora with 1 out, 1 on. He's going to swing away.
Let's go, number 9.
1-1 now to Mora, who started the game as the pitcher. Fouls that one back, 1-2. This is a team that coming in, coaches told us they love to hit dingers. They get a big one in this 8th inning. Again, a good rip, fouls it back to the screen.
Here we go, top half, huh? Top half ball. Hit on it.
They're also known as the Cardiac Kids, resilient bunch. Love to play from behind. You don't hear that often from players and coaches, but that was kind of forged during their state championship run, coming from behind several times after losing their opening round game and winning 7 games in 8 days. And they come from behind in this one to grab the lead. 1-2, a tapper past the pitcher. Second baseman Farrell flips to the shortstop for the force play. Tried to get the tag, but effective regardless with the toss instead. 2 down.
Let's go, Sabato!
He had a couple of cracks in and out here. There's one of them. Missing on the tag. Force play works just as well. Mora reaching on the fielder's choice. Now the top of the order, Xavier Navarro. Runner breaking for second. Throw down there is a good one, but not in time. Mora swipes the bag. Navarro 1 for 3, single back in the third inning. Good rip at that offering. Falls behind 1 and 2. And a strikeout for Kajioka to end the top half of the 8th. Season on the line for these two. We go to the bottom baseman, Golia, and the home plate umpire, Jason Akiona, says, no, that's a fair ball. And Gordon using the opportunity after the throwing error to score. And Absent took advantage, getting to third base. And he now represents the tying run over there. And they're going to take a look at this bunt right on the chalk. Golia, the third baseman, thought it was a foul ball, so he picked it up. That's the right thing to do. Once it crosses, don't let it come back into field of play. But Jason Akiona thought it was in fair play. So this is a big call right here. We've got a quick review here from the home plate up. Here it is. Fair ball. Here it is. The bunt by Amsden fooled the infield. Golia waiting on it, right on the chalk. Looks like it rolls off a little bit, but the home plate ump says it was still on the chalk and a fair ball. A hit for Amsden. He represents a tying run at third. And now Alex Kajioka at the plate. Infield is in. Southern California trying to cling to this one-run advantage here in the bottom of the 8th. And boy, the fortunes have changed, and it just shows you when you have that runner at second, gives you a real fighting chance to erase a deficit. You got to credit Amsden there, recognizing that there was the ability to bunt that ball and reach base safely. Kajioka representing the winning run at the plate here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Bouncer back up the middle, base hit, we're tied. Amsden scores. RBI for Kajioka, his second of the game. What a game here in West Region play. Kajioka has had a big game in the field and at the plate today. Now Chase Griffith. Fly ball hit down the right field line. Harrison, the first baseman, giving a look, and it falls into foul territory. This is West Region play. Elimination game. The winner will face Utah tomorrow. Griffith already has an RBI triple in this one. Inside with that one, 1-1. It's been a roller coaster ride for these two teams. 2-1 now. Nevada led. Southern California led 2-0. Nevada took a 4-2 lead. And now we're all even. Strike call, 2-2. Full count. Boy, important pitch coming right here. Ball 4. Winning run at second base. Represented by Kajioka. Nobody out. And it brings up the cleanup hitter, Aiden Farrell. And it also brings Javier Chavez to the mound. Boy, Navarro has worked hard, and he is nearing the max pitch count of 85, so they're going to have to make a move here. He can work through one more batter if need be. He wants to stay out there. So you can exceed 85. Runners at first and second, one out. Vincent will face J.D. Noel. Winning run at second. Swing and a miss, strike one. Noel had a big 2-run double yesterday. Looks at a strike on the corner. He's in the hole 0-2 now. Vincent coming in from center field. Navarro's now playing that position. Here's a pitch that misses 1-2.
Let's go, Vincent!
2 balls, 2 strikes. Bouncing ball, pitcher throws to second for the force, on to first, thrown away. And they're not going to send the runner. It looked like they would send Griffith from third. He will stay put, not risking it. And now with 2 down, runners on the corners as Noel reaches on the fielder's choice. Vincent to the shortstop for 1. They don't get the double play, the throw off the mark. And now Gavin Kim with the winning run at third base. Represented by Griffith. Strike called. He's behind in the count 0-2 now. Vincent trying to get out of the jam and get this one to the 9th inning. 0-2, bouncing ball, second baseman. Flips to the shortstop, and we're going to the 9th. Mora to Turner, and we continue on with the season on the line, all tied up. That's inside. That almost hit Turner. Skipped away from it. He was hit by a pitch last time up. 1-2 now.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, buddy. Oh, you 1-9.
Strike 3 call. Kajioka with his 3rd K, out number 1 here in the 9th. A great location there, right at the knees on the corner. Well, here's Skylar Vincent, who stepped up in a big way as a pitcher in the last half inning. Started the game as a center fielder, called on to help out. A lot of versatile players out there contributing. Check swing, did he go? Yes, says Aaron Schreier, the first base up. Vincent is 2 for 4, a couple singles in this one. Go ahead run at second base, represented by Navarro. He has good speed over there. You can see number 66. Swing and a miss, strikeout. Ball gets away from the catcher though, and runners on the corners now. Tough break there for Kajioka. He gets the strikeout, but the drop third strike, and Vincent is on. And now the go-ahead run at third.
Number 35, Andrew Naruki.
Vincent at first, Navarro at third, Andrew Naruki. Outside, great play there by Gordon. Boy, has he been a workhorse back behind the dish. In the heat here, nearing 100 degrees. Got a piece of that one, 2-1. Naruki does not have a hit today. He had one yesterday. He's walked a couple times. Bounced up there. Runner's going to move up. Gordon most concerned about that runner at third, but Vincent ends up at second base.
Let's go, Torrance! Let's go, Torrance! Let's go, Torrance! Let's go, Torrance!
Now with the count 3-1, they're not going to pitch to Naruki here. They're going to give him the pass. Intentional walk to load up the bases. And not bad strategy here from Nevada. It brings that force play into play.
Come on, Dominic! Come on!
Base is full now. It does put pressure on that pitcher to throw strikes in this tie game. Boy, Nevada has seen some drama in their 2 games. Losing on a wild pitch to Hawaii 7-6 last night. The quick turnaround, the game today against Southern California. Now they're into extra innings here in the 9th. Dominic Golia at the plate with the bases full. The infield is in. 1 out. Strike 1.
Put it there.
Dom singled and scored back in the 4th inning. He has struck out a couple times in this one. Check swing. He goes, according to Aaron Schreier, down the first baseline. Says he offered on it. 1-2 fastball fouled off. Good defensive swing there by Golia, wasting that pitch. Navarro representing the go-ahead run at third base. 1 out. Extra innings here in the 9th inning. The season on the line in the West Region play. Swing and a miss. Strikes out Golia. 2 down. And here comes the hero in the last frame. Grant Hayes put the 2-run homer over the right field fence to put him up 6-4. Now a chance to put him in front again. He also has an RBI single in this one. 2 down, bases full. Oh, great play again by Gordon back there. There's a strike on the edge, 1-1. Navarro has good speed over at the bag at third base. Off-speed pitch, swing and a miss. Gets away from the catcher, here comes Navarro. He scores. He got the quick first step and scores to give him a 7-6 lead. Gets away from Gordon, had to retrieve it in front of the plate, and Navarro slides in safely. Opportunistic base running, giving him the lead. Here's the pitch to Hayes. Outside runner breaking for third. It's a high throw and it's into left field. Vincent scores. It's 8-6. And into third safely is Naruki. Aggressive base running paying off. A 2-run lead now, and Hayes looks at that one inside. He walks. He thought it was ball 4. It's only ball 3. Full count now. You get it done with 2 outs in this inning. Pushing a couple runs across. Here's the 3-2. And Hayes strikes out. But 2 runs with 2 outs, giving Southern California the lead again. They're up 8-6. We head to the bottom of the ninth. Season on the line for Nevada. Good job by Naruki to make sure that one was over the chalk. Here it is. Just foul. Hutton again squares away, fouls it off, 1-2. Now the bunt may be off. With 2 strikes. Fouled off. Chase, their youngest player, nicknamed Leo. The older Chase, nicknamed Stitch. Just turned 12 years old, the Charlie Hustle of this team. Trying to put it in play here. 2-2.
Let's go, Skyler! Let's go, 3!
Vincent with a stretch and the 2-2. Got him, chase the high fastball, 1 down. Went high in the zone, Hutton went after it. And that brings up Braden Lenahan. Fastball in there for a strike. Braden singled and scored back in the second inning. He's also reached via the walk. Hits it hard towards short. Turner looks at the runner, throws to first. There's out number 2. They are 1 out away from winning this one and keeping their season going. Good job by Turner there, the backhand and a strong throw. And that brings up Ethan Gordon. Nevada down to their final out, but he also represents the tying run at the plate. Swung on, popped up, foul ground, and out of play. Vincent has been huge in relief here the last couple innings,
Hold on to the can.
facing the number 9 hitter in Ethan Gordon. Inside with that one, 1-1. Winner gets Utah tomorrow. Season on the line for these two. Fastball, ground ball, back to the pitcher. Vincent has it, and Southern California wins it. It took 9 innings, but the Torrance Little Leaguers hold off the Summerlin South Little Leaguers from Las Vegas, 8-6, our final score. Great effort from both teams, and